In the ancient world, nestled in a lush, well-watered plain, lay two cities, Sodom and Gomorrah. Their prosperity was legendary, but their reputation was infamous. The Bible tells us that the outcry against them was so great, and their sin so grievous, that it reached the heavens. God saw the wickedness that had consumed the hearts of the people, a corruption so deep that it demanded justice. The story begins not with fire, but with a visitor. The Lord appeared to Abraham by the great trees of Mamre. As Abraham sat at the entrance of his tent in the heat of the day, he looked up and saw three men standing nearby. Recognizing their divine nature, he ran to meet them, bowing low to the ground. He offered them water, rest, and a meal, showing the hospitality that was absent in the cities of the plain. During their visit, the Lord revealed his plan. He said, "The outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is so great, and their sin so grievous, that I will go down and see if what they have done is as bad as the outcry that has reached me. If not, I will know." Abraham, whose nephew Lot lived in Sodom, was filled with dread. He approached the Lord and began to bargain, to plead for the righteous. "Will you sweep away the righteous with the wicked?" He asked. "What if there are 50 righteous people in the city? Will you really sweep it away and not spare the place for the sake of the 50 righteous people in it?" The Lord, in his immense mercy, replied, "If I find 50 righteous people in the city of Sodom, I will spare the whole place for their sake." Abraham, emboldened but still fearful, continued to negotiate. He bartered down from 50 to 45 to 40, then to 30, and then to 20. Each time, the Lord agreed. Finally, with trembling hope, Abraham made his last plea, "May the Lord not be angry, but let me speak just once more. What if only 10 can be found there?" And the Lord said, "For the sake of 10, I will not destroy it." When the Lord had finished speaking with Abraham, he left, and Abraham returned home, his heart heavy with uncertainty. As evening fell, 2 angels, the same who had visited Abraham, arrived at the city gate of Sodom. Lot was sitting there and, like his uncle, recognized their divine nature. He rose to meet them, bowed with his face to the ground, and urged them, "My lords, please turn aside to your servant's house. You can wash your feet and spend the night, and then go on your way early in the morning." Initially, the angels declined, saying they would spend the night in the square. But Lot insisted so strongly that they went with him to his house. He prepared a meal for them, baking bread without yeast, and they ate. But before they could lie down for the night, a horrifying scene unfolded. All the men from every part of the city of Sodom, both young and old, surrounded the house. They shouted to Lot, "Where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us." Their intentions were vile, a stark confirmation of the city's depravity. Lot went outside to them, shutting the door behind him. He pleaded, "No, my friends, don't do this wicked thing." In a desperate, misguided attempt to protect his guests, he even offered his own 2 virgin daughters to the mob. But the crowd was relentless. They surged forward, shouting, "Get out of our way! This fellow came here as a foreigner, and now he wants to play the judge. We'll treat you worse than them." They rushed toward Lot and were about to break down the door. But the two angels inside reached out, pulled Lot back into the house, and shut the door. Then they struck the men who were at the door of the house, both young and old, with blindness. The mob, now sightless, exhausted themselves trying to find the door, their evil intent thwarted by divine power. Inside, the angels revealed their purpose to Lot. Do you have anyone else here? Son-in-law, sons or daughters, or anyone else in the city who belongs to you. Get them out of here, because we are going to destroy this place. The outcry to the Lord against its people is so great that he has sent us to destroy it. Lot rushed to speak to his son-in-law, who were pledged to marry his daughters. He warned them, "Hurry and get out of this place, because the Lord is about to destroy the city." But they thought he was joking. They laughed at his warning, sealing their own fate. As the first light of dawn broke, the angels urged Lot, "Hurry! Take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here, or you will be swept away when the city is punished." But Lot hesitated. He lingered, perhaps unwilling to leave his home and everything he knew. So the men grasped his hand, and the hands of his wife and of his 2 daughters, and led them safely out of the city, for the Lord was merciful to them. Once they were outside the city limits, one of the angels commanded, "Flee for your lives. Don't look back, and don't stop anywhere in the plain. Flee to the mountains, or you will be swept away." Lot, fearing he couldn't make it to the mountains, begged for a concession. "No, my lords, please. Your servant has found favor in your eyes, and you have shown great kindness to me in sparing my life. But I can't flee to the mountains. This disaster will overtake me, and I'll die. Look, here is a small town nearby. Let me flee to it. It is very small. Then my life will be spared." The angel granted his request, allowing him to flee to the small town of Zor. "But flee there quickly," the angel said, "because I cannot do anything until you reach it." By the time Lot reached Zor, the sun had risen over the land. And then the judgment began. The Lord rained down burning sulfur and fire on Sodom and Gomorrah from the Lord out of the heavens. A storm of divine wrath descended upon the cities of the plain. The sky turned black with smoke and red with fire. Buildings crumbled, the earth shook, and the air filled with the screams of the wicked as they were consumed. He overthrew those cities and the entire plain, destroying all those living in the cities and also the vegetation in the land. Everything was obliterated. It was a complete and total destruction, a terrifying display of God's justice against unrepentant sin. But in this moment of escape, Lot's wife disobeyed the one command she was given. As they fled, she looked back. Perhaps it was a longing for the life she left behind, or a morbid curiosity. The reason is not told, but the consequence was immediate and absolute. She was turned into a pillar of salt, a permanent monument to the cost of disobedience and a divided heart. Early the next morning, Abraham went to the place where he had stood before the Lord. He looked down toward Sodom and Gomorrah, toward all the land of the plain, and he saw dense smoke rising from the land, like smoke from a furnace. The once vibrant, lush valley was now a desolate, smoldering wasteland. The judgment was complete. But the story holds a thread of hope. Genesis 19:29 says, "So when God destroyed the cities of the plain, he remembered Abraham, and he brought Lot out of the catastrophe that overthrew the cities where Lot had lived." Even in judgment, God remembered his faithful servant and showed mercy to his kin. The story of Sodom and Gomorrah is a stark and powerful reminder of several truths. It speaks of the severe consequences of sin when it fully corrupts a society. It demonstrates that God is not indifferent to evil. His justice will prevail. But it also reveals God's profound mercy. He was willing to spare the cities for just 10 righteous people. He rescued Lot, not because of Lot's own merit, but because of his covenant with Abraham. This ancient account challenges us to examine our own lives and our own societies. It calls us to a life of righteousness, to be the salt and light in a world that can so easily fall into darkness. It's a call to heed God's warnings, to flee from sin, and to never look back at the life we've been saved from. It is a story of judgment, yes, but it is also a story of deliverance, a testament to a God who is both just and merciful. Thank you for watching. If this story has impacted you, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that explores the depths of faith.